Hi, I'm Zakora. I'm a 28-year-old experienced and aesthetic curator, a content strategist, and multi-hyphenate creative. And this is Pushing 30, my new vlog series where I take you along on this journey of discovery. We don't have that in the budget. Sorry about that. I mean, this journey of becoming the woman of my dreams and creating the life I desire before my golden birthday. That's right, I turned 30 on March 30th in 2027. And I know that sounds really far, but walk with me. My dream is to be a full-time creative entrepreneur and content creator. And to be honest, I've had that vision for a very long time. This isn't my first time standing at the bottom of this hill. I've semi-launched my business multiple times. I even started an accessories boutique called Carefully Curated that is currently on hiatus, but I can tell y'all more about that in another video one day. But my point is, I've started this journey before multiple times, but I was always too afraid, too scared to be seen trying. And as the oldest daughter, as a gifted child, as a Black woman in the world, period, I always felt I had to show up perfect out the gate. And I know many of you watching this can relate to that. And I'm going to tell y'all something I have to remind myself of daily. And I'm going to hold y'all hand when I say this. Partially because y'all need it, but mainly because I need the emotional support too. And that is that it's unrealistic. It's so unrealistic. We aren't born knowing how to do anything other than sleep, eat, and cry. Okay? Everything else we have to learn. So forget showing up perfect. We really just have to show up. And so here I am. These past 6 months of my life have stretched me in ways that I never saw coming. I feel like I'm back at the beginning of post-grad where I had no job, limited funds, lack of immediate community. Hell, I was even single. And if this prequel energy was any indicator, I know this Saturn return is about to be some serious work. So my Astro girlies, if any of you are entering or already in your Saturn return as well, maybe let me know in the comments and we can start a little support group or something. All jokes aside, I really see this energy as an opportunity. It's a chance for me to really lock in and make the changes happen. Otherwise, I'm gonna wake up 30-something years old and I'm gonna be frustrated I'm not where I'm meant to be, and it'll be nobody's fault but my own. I'm on a mission to accomplish 3 things before I hit 30. 1, I want to find balance in the 5 core areas of my life. Those 5 core areas include relationships, career, wellness, spirituality, and finances. 2nd, I want to release the fear of being seen trying, or at least hone the skill to show up scared. 3rd, I want to build a safe and genuine community of Black women creatives who are committed to uplifting and supporting each other. I know the idea of me giving myself a year and a half to accomplish these things probably sounds so absurd in the digital space because everything on the internet is so fast-paced, and that's trickled into our daily lives and our real worlds. Folks want 75 hard, how to do XYZ in 30 days, most results, least amount of time. And that's cool. No shade to anyone who prefers that method. However, my decision is deliberately a reminder to myself and to you all that you need to take the time that you need. We aren't on anyone else's timeline but ours and the creators. The most famous Aesop fable story, and this will sound really cliche, but the most famous Aesop fable is the story of the tortoise and the hare. And what did that story teach us? Slow and steady wins the race. Exactly. I'm not aiming for rapid exponential growth. My goal here is natural and consistent progression. Many of our favorite Black women powerhouses have been grinding for years to get to the level they're at now. De'Ara has been doing YouTube for over 10 years. Megan Thee Stallion started rapping at 16. And there's literally a 5-year gap between Awkward Black Girl and Insecure, where Issa Rae kept her head down and just kept creating until her moment came. We get to see a lot of the above ground work, and so we neglect to consider the time, the tears, and the attention that was put in below sea level to get to the top of the mountain. But that's why this series is so important to me. It isn't just for me, as personal as it is, it's for us. It's part love letter, it's part documentary, part accountability partner, so that my little cousins, my future nieces, and other young Black girls coming up can at least look at my journey as a reference, whether that be, okay, I want to try this thing Zecora did, or I don't want to make the same mistake that Zecora made. Amade Aloe, the founder of Topical, said something in an interview that stuck with me like glue. And that is, if you aren't you, there's someone else 2, 3, 5, 10 years down the line who can't become who they need to become. In another interview, she mentioned how your gift is not for you. It's for someone else to be inspired by you, to become who they're meant to be. And that's exactly why I feel called to bring y'all on this journey with me. So with all that being said, let's talk about where we're starting. Ground zero. I lost my job as a brand strategist and community manager back in October 2024. And I haven't found success in finding a 9-to-5 in marketing since. I definitely think this was a sign from God, because I had honestly started feeling in my spirit that it was time to move on prior to being laid off. However, I was still being stubborn, and I did get a bit depressed and found myself escaping via television right after I did get laid off, particularly watching a lot of Chinese dramas and K-dramas. But one day at like 2 a.m., Spirit nudged me and she was like, hey girl, what we doing? And I had a conversation with myself, and I had to figure out a way to make all the time I felt like I spent watching TV make sense, right? So I decided to create a content series surrounding the C-dramas that I was watching, which you guys will get to see soon. But I went even further and decided to create an entire C-drama TikTok as like a practical experiment of showing up authentically on social media with no big expectations or concerns. My C-drama page is by no means popular whatsoever, right? However, just doing something creative and putting myself out there that was tied to this hobby I had and really enjoyed gave me a lot of confidence, I think, to take on my next big project, which is officially leaning into my career as a content creator. And even starting this YouTube channel, which was originally not on my bingo card, to be honest. Admittedly, though, it is still rough. I definitely feel like so much of my self-worth and my identity was wrapped up in like having a good job, but now I'm at a point where I really just want to focus on doing what makes me happy and following my dreams. And what that is right now is me being creative. It's learning, it's making new connections, etc. So let's talk about where we're going. As I said in the beginning, I have a very clear vision for my life. I know exactly what I want it to look like, to sound like, to smell like, to feel like, all of the things. I truly do want to be a full-time creative entrepreneur, and a big part of getting to that point is finding balance in my life and really reconnecting with my own creative desires and energy. So I've decided to make some pretty big life changes in an effort to prioritize myself and my journey, and it hasn't been very easy, but I do believe that in the end, it will be worth it. Because I'm a very visual person who potentially has ADHD, a lot of times my planning starts with journaling and mood boarding, right? I have a multi-layered approach to planning, and I have to see all my steps laid out and know how to proceed. So to create my Pushing 30 plan, what I did was whipped out my handy dandy whiteboard, okay, and basically brain dumped my big goals into 10 buckets. I did end up consolidating those down. That's why we're at 5 buckets now. The 10 buckets that I started with were health, personal development, relationships, finance, spirituality, career, creative, community causes, big moves, and hobbies. I did this by hand originally, but y'all weren't finna be up in them comments talking about my bad handwriting, so I did make it digital in my planner on my iPad using GoodNotes. I can link my planner and the app that I use down below. In case you guys are curious, I stand by GoodNotes. I love GoodNotes. It's my favorite, and I always buy my digital planners from the same place as well, so I'll include that. So out of those 10 buckets, these were all areas that I wanted to focus on during this period. And in each bucket, I wrote down a goal that I wanted to accomplish by 30. From there, I consolidated down and synthesized those to my overarching goals and buckets, which is how we got to the 3 things that I will be focusing on in this series. 1, finding balance in the 5 core areas of my life, which are relationships, career, wellness, spirituality, and finances. Again, this goal has quite a few sub goals underneath each category, but the point is that I want more alignment in each of these spaces. I want to feel like I am more aligned with what is happening in each of those buckets and knock out some of those goals. 2, release the fear of being seen trying, or at least hone the skill of showing up scared. This goal is directly related to my dream of being a content creator and full-time entrepreneur. I can't help people do something that I've never done before. Just that simple. So I wanted to be vulnerable and build out in public where everyone can see me as I embark on this journey, just as a mode of like really being authentic, really putting myself out there and really trying to show you all that it can be done. 3, third goal is building a safe, inclusive, and genuine community of Black women creatives who are really committed to uplifting and supporting one another. I feel like this goal is so near and dear to my heart because I feel like Black women deserve safe spaces. And I could just leave it there, but I feel like Black women deserve safe spaces, and they deserve safe spaces that where they can show up and be their full selves and not feel pressured to pretend like they have it all together or know it all already. And it's okay for them to be in these spaces and try and learn and fail and try again and maybe even get help the next time. I think that is so important for Black women, especially Black women creatives in this world that is constantly, I feel like, taking from us and making us feel like we have to have all our shit together from the jump. So boom. From there, the next thing I did was I broke down each goal into actionable steps and determined what steps needed to be implemented into my routines. I take those actionable steps and I just start to plug them into my routines in daily life on my various multi-layered, potentially ADHD approved planning system. It's really hard for me to stay on task sometimes. So I have multiple kind of checks where I can make sure that I'm getting what needs to be done. I have reminders set up on my phone for my morning and nightly routines, as well as anything that I need to get done throughout the week, month, etc. I also watched an amazing video from Vanessa Lowe where she talked about her content creation process, and I've adapted her kind of weekly planner system for myself using those action items from my goals and my desired routines, which I will link the video as well because I think it's an awesome video and you all should watch it. It was very helpful for me. Here we have the weekly planner that I got from Vanessa Lau, and essentially the way that it works is I have my tasks put into time blocks. As you can see, each of my days starts with my morning routine, and I try to end with my nighttime routine. And then I also have my other things in here like work. And then I also have things in here like work, filming days, content planning, etc. If I dive a little deeper into it, I have cycle thinking on so I can make track of what I'm doing in which part of my menstrual cycle. I have the date. I have the actual day that it happens on. A focus if I need to call out something I specifically need to focus on. I also have my status, which not started, in progress, and done. Task type so I can keep track of what kind of activities I'm doing. And then I have, again, the time blocks that it exists in. This is just to help my brain know what I'm doing when and at what time. Having things put in time blocks instead of being like at specific times, like, hey, you're going to start content planning at 5 p.m. really allows me that flexibility I need. Like, it accounts for travel time, it accounts for if I just need a break, and it makes me not feel like I'm like getting too far behind because I have 2 whole hours here that I can be like, okay, yeah, let me go ahead and do some content planning. And I can start at 5 if I want to, or I can start at 6 and I'll still feel like I actually accomplished something within that time block that I gave myself. So yeah, this is my whole week laid out. I also have to do today's, which this tab allows me to move my tasks throughout their state of progress. For example, let's take today. Let's say I've done my morning routine, which I did. And then I could change this to done. And now it's moved over there. Let's say I'm in the middle of editing my video. I hit in progress and then it moves to there. It just lets me keep track of what's being done through the day. And then I can mark it off and it'll fall off my week at a glance as well. This tab, my time blocks tab, really is just a visual thing for me to look at, get an overview of like my overall week and like how busy I am or how busy I'm intending to be, as well as like where my breaks are. As we can see on Friday, for example, I have a break in my schedule during this time block where I'm not doing anything before I go to work in terms of like late morning. So if I decide like I want to sneak in a yoga session or something, I can fill that in if I need to. But I could also just leave it open and leave it as free time to decide what I want to do with it later on. So having these time blocks really allows me, I feel like, a lot of flexibility instead of trying to plan out every single hour of my day. And then, of course, I have the calendar option where I can see everything that's going on, get a complete overview of my week. And then this view also shows what type of task it is, again, so I can just keep track of whether I'm working too much, if I'm spending too much time planning and not enough time creating, whether I need to spend more time in admin or organization, or if I need to add more wellness in. It really helps me to be able to get a good idea of the balance of the things that I'm doing. And then this tab is just everything listed out in a list format. That way, if I need to change anything really quickly, I can just jump to the right place and then change it. And so that is my weekly planner, which is based off of Vanessa Law's video that, like I said, really helped me a lot in terms of being able to flexibly plan my schedule in a way that makes sense to me. Something I also did was I worked with ChatGPT to come up with a daily flow, so to speak, that includes certain things like my creative residency that I built out for myself. I'll do a whole video on kind of the creative residency that I'm putting myself through, gym days, and then flex days. So again, I'm a person that needs adaptability. Routine is good, structure is necessary for me, but rigid structures start to make me feel trapped. And if I start to miss some things in that, then I start to feel like I'm getting behind. So I have to avoid trying to put myself on a very strict and rigid regimen or schedule. It needs to be a little bit more flexible and flowy, but still have some kind of container for me to feel like I'm actually getting things done and also protect my mental health. But yeah, so from there, once I have those checkpoints set up in my various areas where I can look and see what my schedule looks like for the day, look and see what my schedule looks like for the week, etc., and back out and get an overview of everything, my next step is just to do it. This whole thing is really just about execution. And I'll give you guys a preview of what a week ideally for me would look like using those systems that I just discussed. But I really just want you all to stay tuned, stay on this journey with me, hold me accountable, really be on my bumper, y'all. Be on me if y'all see that I'm not doing what I said that I would do. Give me a little grace if it seems like I need a little grace. But I'm one of those people, like, I really value my word. And so, like, when people are calling me out, hey, Score, you said you're going to do this and you're not doing that, then it makes me, it really I just breathed in, but it just tried to take me out. But yeah, I really value my word. And when people call me out on not doing something that I said that I was going to do, it turns me up because I like to be a woman of my word. I'm really strong about doing what I say I'm going to do. And so if you guys hold me accountable, that would really help me out a lot. And I'm going to do my best to be disciplined and keep my energy up and really follow along and follow through with all of this stuff. If there are any questions, you guys feel free to drop a comment below. If you like this video, if you rock with me, if you stand with me on the journey, make sure that you like, subscribe, hell, turn your notifications on. We're doing it together. So keep me updated too on how your journey's going. Remember, this is a marathon, not a race. So we're going to be at this for a while, and I'm just so excited to have you guys witness the growth, hopefully. And I can't wait to look back come March 30th, 2027, my golden birthday, and think about all the things that we accomplished together. So until next time, see you in the next video. Bye.